Welcome back to episode 5 of Noob to Final Boss. By now you probably know the deal, but if you're new here, welcome. In this series, we are gunning for the final boss achievement by taking down every boss in the game, learning PvM skills and unlocking every important upgrades along the way. Like I mentioned in the last episode, from here on out, every single boss is gonna be brand new to me, so today I'm super excited to take on Arch-Glacor for the very first time. I've heard it's like the best beginner boss in the game, you can toggle mechanics on and off, so let's check it out. I'm actually so fired up, time to melt this big ice cube. As always, we are kicking things off with some preparation. Picking up right where we left off in the Invention Guild. After completing the tutorial, I started leveling up and disassembling items until I had enough components to add some basic PvM perks to my gear. For this fight, I'll be using this magic stuff called Obliteration, a pretty fitting name for a weapon. I got it from the Vigour event, but this stuff is not too much money at all. It's only around 2 million GP on the GE, and that's for a tier 87 stuff. I'm currently level 27 Invention, so sadly we can't get anything too crazy perk-wise just yet, but I did add Precise Eruptive combo to my weapon. This basically gives better average hit and damage per second. There is Biting 2 on my armor, which gives a 2% chance per rank to land a critical hit, and Mobile, which reduces the cooldown of Surge by 50%. I also went back to the Fight Kiln for a magic kiln cape. It was way harder using magic and I had a couple of heart attack moments, but we pulled through. Give me my cape. It looks so sick. It's magic color, this blue, oh my god, it's so badass. Let's freaking go. Lastly, I picked up the Greater Concentrated Blast Codex from the GE to upgrade one of my core magic abilities as suggested in the comments. We are gonna unlock even more must-have PvM upgrades later in the episode, but for now, let's head over to the boss. So we can customize this boss, which is already pretty awesome. I think I'm gonna enter with zero mechanics first, just to get familiar with the arena and the boss itself. Yeah, that's what we are gonna do. You guys can imagine how pumped I am to learn this boss. Here we go. By the way, in my inventory, I'm bringing extreme stat boosting potions and 2 super restore potions, just to be safe. For food I've got sharks and green jellyfish. Jellyfish is one of the best foods in the game since we can eat them without losing adrenaline. With zero mechanics, the only thing we really have to watch out for is this creeping guys, which is a core mechanic we can't turn off. It basically forces us to keep moving around the arena, but once I start turning on some mechanics later, these icicles will actually indicate what special attack the boss is about to use. First kill, that was easy. It's been a while since we last hit up the shop in the PvM hub, so I made a quick stop. Holy moly, we got 3 upgrades to unlock, but the most important one is definitely the Adrenaline Crystal. I've been waiting to get this one for so long. From now on we can go into the fight with full adrenaline. Let's enable our first mechanic, pretty exciting. I think I'll add one mechanic at a time, and if it feels fine, I'll add a second one and a third one and so on. So, let's start with a Flurry.
It's changing its attack pattern.
Oh, it's voice acted, that's pretty cool, really helps. It causes the boss to occasionally attack us with ranged or magic at random, which means we have to constantly switch our prayers. There are 2 different attack animations we need to prayer flick against, and I've already keybind my deflect curses to make it easier to swap between them. It's a great mechanic to practice prayer flicking, which will come in handy for a ton of future boss fights. The Arch-Glacor focuses his attacks, so it's flurry time. Drop my sunshine and start DPSing the boss by flicking my prayers as needed. There's a ranged attack. There is a magic attack. Another magic attack. We are flicking so well right now. That's a ranged attack. After all this prayer flicking, the jets are gonna feel like a joke. Alright, so far I really like this. I think I'm ready to move on. Second mechanic, Pillars of Ice is on. More things to die to. Cool. The Pillars of Ice mechanic tests our movement skills. It's tricky since these ice beams are chasing us around. They deal rapid damage, it's kinda nasty. At first I was just running around, kinda panicking a bit in these early kills, but later once I get the hang of it and started to feel more comfortable with the mechanic, I was able to keep firing my abilities while dodging these ice beams. Oh shit. Alright, we are being pushed to the far right hand side by the creeping guys, so the Pillars of Ice mechanic is about to come up. I did my research, guys. They are pretty easy to avoid once I figured out the pattern. Now I just walk along the edges, take a bit of time for it to creep closer, then search to the other side of the arena. This boss is a blast. Alright, third mechanic, here we go. In this phase, the Arch-Glacor collapses onto the arena and drops us between his arms, dealing constant damage that increases the longer we are stuck inside. Alright, all we gotta do here is DPS down one of his arms as fast as possible, or else we freeze to death. His left arm is weak to fire spells, so I'm going for that one. Got him via free. Wasn't too bad. This whole mechanic is a DPS check. It teaches us to save certain abilities and figure out which ones to use in what order to maximize our burst damage and clear this phase as quickly as possible. I basically just used Wild Magic and Asphyxiate, my most powerful threshold abilities. Ooh, that's a lot of damage, an S-load of damage. Eat! It's getting tougher, has a much bigger health bar too. Alright, adding the next one in. Shit, this is the instant kill mechanic. Kinda scared of this. I'd like to practice just this one first, so I'm gonna toggle off all the other mechanics. This attack is all about using defensives. The easiest way to deal with it is by using Devotion to avoid damage completely. But for that, we need 50% adrenaline, and it also depletes highly valuable adrenaline. So I wanted to try a better method. I got familiar with a new defensive ability called Resonance. To activate this ability, we need something that every decent PvMer has, a shield. Or at least, it used to be like that. The first prototype of a shield was created in 2001, and shields have protected players for decades. Recently, however, they have fallen out of use. But why is that? Well, Necromancy came out and introduced the Bone Shield incantation, allowing players to bypass the requirement to wield a physical shield when casting certain defensive abilities, making shields impractical. Switching to a shield is clunky and inconvenient for a lot of people, while Bone Shield just needs some Necromancy rules. Shield switching is of course still used in some instances, such as high-end PvM, but for most players, it's a thing of the past, and that likely won't change for the foreseeable future. So I crafted myself the Death Warden Nexus, which is basically a Necromancy rune pouch. Inside of it, I've got the runes I need for the Bone Shield incantation, and with that, we are completely ready for that cannon. Here it comes, Resonance at the ready, deactivate any protection prayers or curses, res and get a fat heal, just like that, back to full HP. Wow, that feels satisfying. Alright, so the ice is coming from the west side, so the wiki says it's gonna be a frost cannon. This is a really cool mechanic. Maybe I'm just easily entertained, but this is my favorite boss fight in the game so far. I needed this heal, thank you very much. Alright, I think I'm confident enough to turn on the last mechanic. Just waiting for the next mechanic. Oh, it's minions, the new mechanic. 4 minions spawn on the field, making the boss immune to damage. Luckily, I'm already familiar with my AoE abilities, so with Chain and Dragon Breath, I can clear them all out quite easily and get back to the boss as fast as possible. Oh man, I had too much damn fun exploring these boss mechanics. We've beaten it with all mechanics active, which means we can even take on hard mode now. But let's not rush too far ahead just yet. I want to get more practice with these 5 mechanics first. As I got more and more comfortable with 5 mechanic Arch-Glacor, I decided it was time to learn a PvM rotation. We gotta find it, there it is, Ring of Vigour, buy, confirm, there we go. That's actually a huge upgrade. That extra 10% of adrenaline is gonna come in absolutely clutch. I added my Ring of Vigour switch to my mouse wheel, so I can flick it to the right to equip my Ring of Vigour, and then back to the left hand side to put on my main ring. It's not a necessary thing to do, it's just something I wanted to try, and I'm looking to get used to binding more abilities to hotkeys and buttons, to warm up my non-existing muscle memory and ease into manual combat one step at a time. Alright, let's put it to the test. I'm gonna put my Ring of Vigour on, activate Sunshine, Adrenaline Pot, and use 2 abilities, and just like that, I'm already at the point where I can use Wild Magic. 1 ability later, I can use Asphyxiate. Of course, I swap back to the Asylum Surgeon's Ring to have a chance to prevent adrenaline loss when using those thresholds. Wild Magic's cooldown is still within the time I have left on Sunshine, so we can use it again, which is pretty damn awesome. It's a simple but really effective rotation to learn. Very happy with this upgrade. 90 magic, that's a big level, our first 90 combat stat. No way, Scripture of Van, isn't that like the biggest drop we can get? Hold on, Oh yes, 44 mil, dude, let's go! Look at us go, we can reliably do 5 mechanic Arch-Glacor with this setup. Normal mode is pretty easy to be honest. Once you're able to counter each mechanic properly by using the right abilities, you barely need to eat any food. And that should be our last kill. Let's take a look at the loot. We made 77 million GP from 100 kills. This boss is insane money. Even without the scripture we still got a ton of really good common loot. 33 million just from commons, mostly carried by the Orichalcum savages, and 817 battle staffs. This boss is also really good for farming charms. It's gonna help a lot with summoning. Since my summoning level is 74, I'm pretty sure we've got a decent amount of XP sitting here with these. Hard mode is a different beast entirely. It has its unique enrage and streak system. It starts at 0% enrage and you can go all the way up to 4000%.
Is it possible to learn this power?
With each successful kill, the fight gradually gets harder. I've heard that at higher enrages the Arch-Glacor's HP scales up to like 3 million, and every mechanic can one-shot you if you mess up. That's insane. What's your personal best highest enrage? Drop it in the comments guys, I'm curious. This system immediately caught my attention when I first read about it. I think it's awesome and I can't wait to come back here to push higher enrages once I get stronger and better at PvM. Overall, Arch-Glacor is an amazing boss. They truly made it the perfect learner boss. I love that you can toggle mechanics on and off. I was able to learn them all at my own pace. I started from scratch and now I'm at 100% enrage hard mode, which is for me is freaking amazing. I feel so good about it. I practice prayer flicking, a bit of gear switching, dealing with minions, saving damage bursts, a lot of things, but it never felt overwhelming. If you're new to the game and want to get into PvM, I highly recommend starting with this boss. And that's about it for this episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please consider subscribing and liking the video. I'd appreciate that very much. And for those of you who made it to the end, I have a favor to ask. I've made a poll so you guys can vote on which boss we take on in the next episode. If you have a second, please vote. The link is down in the description. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great week and I'll see you in the next one.
It's charging. So much energy.
What the heck? Shit, I was spraying ranged. Oh gosh, embarrassing.